Welcome back to the Jameson Files. I'm your host, Carrie Weber, and I'm really excited today because I have such a special guest and a dear friend joining us today. Anne Duffy of Dental Entrepreneur Woman is with us. And Anne, I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for taking this time with me.
Oh, Carrie, I adore you, and I'm thrilled to be here and have this conversation with you today.
Oh, me too. So, for those of you that might not know Anne, which I find that hard to believe, but maybe there's some of you out there. So, now you do. Now you do know Anne because Anne has an amazing history in dentistry. Anne started as a dental hygienist and practiced, oh my gosh, Anne, 30 years plus?
46,
Oh my
46
gosh, I
years.
was way off.
Yeah.
46 years as a practicing dental hygienist. And during a big stint of that time was also the owner and editor of Dental Entrepreneur magazine, which you took over in the early 2000s. Am I correct, Anne?
Yeah, I did.
And then fast forward to, I believe it was 2016. Am I correct?
Yep,
That
you're right.
you launched this new initiative, which is just taking off in a beautiful way. Dental Entrepreneur Woman, an organization that also has a magazine, but it's so much more than that. It is a community that Anne has built for women in dentistry that allows the women in dentistry, whether that's practicing dentists or dental team members or dental leaders or dental professionals in organizations that support dentistry. It is such a wide range of professional women gathering together to grow, develop, and support each other. And it's really kind of amazing in less than 10 years what you've created. So I'm excited to talk to you about obviously your passion of building up women in dentistry. But I also think in those 10 years plus, I mean, really in the 50 years that you've been in the space of dentistry, I'm sure there are some insights that drive you and could really benefit all of us that are here today listening to you. So I'm excited to just pull from your wisdom, Anne.
Well, I hope it's still up here. I think it is. I think it is. Experience is valuable, right? Experience
Well,
is
I know
valuable.
it is because you were just at the Oklahoma Dental Association meeting. I got to see you lead a panel and a luncheon for women in dentistry, but you also presented your very first keynote
Yeah.
at the meeting on the Saturday morning of the meeting. And so I think you still got it, girl.
I'm going to be 72 in October, so you just never know where the career is going to go, right? I mean, I think
No.
I have loved my career in dentistry. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
It's obvious to those that know you that you follow your passion.
Yeah.
You find needs and you just chase after to fulfill those needs. So let's talk a little bit for those that may not know Dental Entrepreneur Woman. Give a little short backstory on what led you to start this initiative in the first place.
Well, I think it's because, I was probably a bossy little girl, and so they say bossy little girls become, strong leaders, and I've always had a passion for, I guess, the underdog, whatever that is, and I just had a conversation. I called a good friend on a Thursday afternoon, and I had known her, Carrie, for many years, through Dental Entrepreneur, and then she would be that person at the trade show that would put my magazines under her booth, keep my extra pair of shoes, always emailed me back, always returned my calls. And, I was selling advertising at the time and also
Mhm.
collecting, articles and things like that for the publication. And she was just a great person. I just called her on a Thursday just to check in as I like to do every once in a while. And she was crying hysterically because her boss wrote in a 360 review that her smile was insincere and it looked like she was plotting something against the company.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, that's insane. That is insane. Dang it. I'm going to start something to highlight the amazing women in dentistry because I just, all the women in dentistry that I knew were amazing, smart. They love beauty. They love caring. They like community. They like relationships. We watched out for each other. And I just felt we weren't getting our due, and so to speak. And the funny thing is that evening on the back porch with Tom, and a lot of people know this, probably had a martini in my hand, and I said, "Hey, let's just call it Dental Entrepreneur Woman." I've already got dental entrepreneur. And so that just made perfect sense to me because you and I both know no matter what you're doing, if you're a woman, you are spinning 10 plates. Funny, we made a joke about that at the meeting because women, they leave for a meeting like Oklahoma, and you've got the list on the refrigerator of what's in the fridge, what time the kids are getting picked up and dropped off, and this, that, and whatever. And our beautiful men who we adore, and I love my hubby, 50 years coming up here in August.
Wow.
He just leaves. He just leaves the house, and he says, "Oh, honey, I'm going to New York, and I'll be back on Thursday." Okay, babe, have a great trip. So it was really for women, and we are about women, and we're by women, and it's just coming together. And
Yes.
that was 2016. So we got 8 years ago,
Wow.
almost nine. We're in the ninth year now. I don't take credit for it other than I open the door and women walk through, and we know the women that are there and all those women in that room. We just love being in a room together, and it's really impactful and powerful.
It obviously was something that filled a need because, you go on the Dental Entrepreneur Woman website and you see your advisory board, and it is this roster of extraordinary
Yeah.
dental professionals, dentists, entrepreneurs of their own, consultants, speakers, leaders in DSO, leaders in solo practice. And that's just a snapshot of the people that engage in the organization and the community you've created. So, in these 9 years, what has really come to the forefront that you've noticed, perhaps what seems to be on repeat of what these professionals in dentistry are really looking for development in?
Well, okay, so this just happened, and I think some of us have seen this on LinkedIn, but, I thought that we would get further than we are. There's a meeting
Mm,
going around, and a lot of women have commented on it. There were 30 speakers, and 2 of them are women.
mm,
And this is today. This is today. And when I first started this 9 years ago, I was at a meeting, and there were 2 women out of 30 on, and I thought, "Okay, well, we're gonna start this, and we're gonna do better and all this." That is still happening, and I don't know, I think we have to take responsibility for raising our hand, stepping into leadership. I think so often, we wanna be empowered, we don't know how to be empowered, we don't know that we think it's everybody else, and we're not the one, and I really feel like it's our time to continue to grow and lock arms, advocate for each other, recommend each other when we're not in the room. That might help.
mhm.
But, again, we're doing the best we can, and I think our job is really to show women that they can be empowered, why they wanna be empowered, why it can make for
Mhm.
a fulfilling career, and then step into that because, if not now, when? And there's a
Right.
lot of work to do, to just get our voices heard, and, we're just stronger together. So that is one thing that I see in the confidence in women of being worthy. I mean, all those
Mm,
things. When you look at our board, a lot of them started out as dental assistants or, I mean, in the office
yes.
managers, and they've risen up and they found their leadership roles enhanced. But most of it's because of the community they surround themselves with and the grit. But it doesn't come until after a lot of times the kids are raised to a certain extent and you've got a little bit more brain power to think about yourself.
Right.
That's my age group. I love the young women coming up
Yes.
because they seem to be able to balance things a little bit more. They've got more help from their partners if they've got kids. I think that men today are a little bit more involved. Tom was very involved, but he was also, the breadwinner, I would say, and so I promoted his career more than having my own career and, "Oh, what can I do?" So,
Mhm.
those are things that I think are common, and I don't know if those will ever go away because I think women have that nurturing instinct, and, I love
Mhm.
being a mom, and that was interesting when we had the panel. It was so cool. I love what
Yes.
Brandy said about, she loves to work, and I think if you position it right and you build the team around you, you can pretty much have it all.
I did some leadership work, some training, I guess, years ago by a woman by the name of Gail Cantor. And she used to say, that as leaders or as people, and I think women are notorious for this, that we should all over ourselves.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
should all over ourselves, and I think women are notorious for this because just to your point, and we either start later because we carve out this part of our lives for that nurturing piece, or we feel like we should be doing something else, or we don't feel like we deserve to be pursuing these things, whatever the case may be. It's a lot of head trash.
Yeah, head trash, I
We
love
deal
that.
with, I call it head trash. We deal with a lot of head trash. Seth Godin calls it the lizard brain. It's
Yeah,
almost like a survival mechanism that we tap into, or that taps into us when we start going outside of our comfort zone,
mhm,
because the hunter gatherer of us will protect, and so you just shrink back. And for those of us that are in the professional world, to give yourself permission to step outside the comfort zone is the most important step. So for you to create this organization that gives a safe place for them to take that first step,
yeah,
to surround themselves with other people that are taking those steps or have already, to be fed by that and to have their confidence built in that, and to see there are other working moms. There are other
mhm,
professionals that didn't have a head start. They
yeah.
had to really work their way to that place. And I think that that confidence boost of just the community alone is so powerful. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's becoming so much more well known in the industry, because people are benefiting so much simply from that energy that you bring into the room.
Yeah, the energy that each of them bring in, honestly, because, we have these do connects on Wednesday mornings, and like I popped in yesterday, and it's just amazing. Like, there's 24 women on this, and from all different career paths, right? So everybody's got a different journey, and everybody's got a an important journey, right?
Mm.
But I mean, just the love there, and Brandy Hooker Evans' birthday, she was
Oh,
41 yesterday, and so her question around the room was, "What would you tell your 21-year-old self?"
oh my
Looking
gosh.
back. So we went around, every single woman shared their story and on that. And it was, again, that's just like fuel. Fuel to keep going, fuel to know that we're not alone. Yeah, it can be a little bit scary, but we have gifts and strengths. And of course, we base everything on Indu on Strength Finders, because that was something that I took 15 years ago,
Mm.
and that made such a difference in my life and in our family's life. For me, it helped me honestly fall in love with myself
Mhm.
again. How God made me in the womb, and He gave me these gifts, these talents, and I'm not gonna bury them. And so that's what we bring to do. You fall in love with, everybody's got amazing talents, and your gifts are not mine, and my gifts are not yours, but together we can do some amazing things. And that's what I love about bringing a community together with a purpose, and then just love for dentistry. When I
Yes.
again started this 8 years ago, I was like, "Dang, we're losing." It was, and then the pandemic hit, and I think we're losing these amazing women. They're leaving dentistry, and
Yes.
we've seen it. We've seen people leave dentistry and they want to come back because there's, again, smart people. They are community based, relationship based. It's a really good place to be. And when you leave it, you think, wait a minute, I need to get back there.
Yes.
I need to get back
Yeah.
there.
You said that, at the luncheon at the ODA meeting, and I was like, "Yes," because you were begging everyone, "Don't leave
Yeah,
dentistry.
yeah,
Don't leave." There's so much opportunity. There's so many places you can go and grow if you look for it. I loved that you said that and encouraged that to people, because we are losing people in dentistry. I mean, it's
mhm,
obvious in the hiring market that the demand well surpasses the supply at this point. and
yeah,
and you kind of sit there from time to time and go, where'd everybody go?
yeah,
Where is
yeah.
everybody?
And why
And
did you leave, right?
why
And
did you leave?
hopefully, and that'll hopefully encourage the leaders to take a look at how they're leading.
Oh,
I mean, it just hit me too when I think about, like, my career in dental hygiene. It never occurred to me that I could do anything other than my lane, right?
mm,
And so I love what you do with Jameson, and you I know, encourage the entire team, not just the doctor.
mhm.
And your dad, as a dentist, has lived that,
Yes.
provided that example of how to pour into a team and see
Yes.
the team grow, which has also influenced you on how you're continuing to build the legacy of how you build into your team. And I love your team. Amy is just an absolute, well, she and you came to the surprise me. It was the highlight of my morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, Carrie and Amy are there. But that was such a lovely thing to do, to come and just support me. And you knew I was nervous about it. And I just that just will, you know, that will always stay with me. Those little teeny things that we do for each other, within our careers, but also just sharing the love that we have for, each other and
Yeah.
the profession, because it just showing up, doing our best, all of those things are so important, and opening other doors. They're just, maybe when you see this with your team members that
Mhm.
you're coaching, maybe someone's just not in the right seat.
Yes.
And how can we help that person that's an amazing person thrive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Something I've learned, I've been so fortunate, in a lot of ways. But one of the things I've been so incredibly fortunate about is the examples that I was able to witness in my parents, in my parents, and then also in just all of the amazing leaders in dentistry that I was exposed to since I was a child.
Oh, yeah.
And to see, especially women in this industry, boy, talk about, Anne, I mean, talk about in the 90s, being a female speaker, consultant, key opinion leader in dentistry in the 90s. If you weren't a dentist, holy moly,
Yeah.
did they have to fight for the right.
Fight
And
for the right.
I think I feel so grateful, and I learned a lot of lessons, and one of the lessons that I learned watching them, but also in my own journey, is if you want meaning in your work, and this is for anybody. If this is for the dental assistant that's watching, this is for the doctor that's watching, this is for the dental professional that works for one of the big companies that's
Mhm.
watching. If you want meaning in your work, you've got to go for that. You have to take that next step in, even in your work relationships with your team members. You have to do the work to go deeper. If you want connection, if you want relationships, if you want people to think about you and care about you and speak your name in a room, you've got to make the first move.
And
And
it's possible, and that's the thing. It
that's
is
right.
what somebody said to me a long time ago, "If it is to be, it's up to me."
Yes.
And we can't just sit back with our arms crossed and say, "Oh, nobody comes and talks to me." It's just like joining. Like, if
Yes.
someone joins due, for instance, and I was talking to this on my team meeting today, they might join, but this is my other thing, like, they're just a guest. They don't show up and
Mm,
take ownership in that. They're missing out on all the goodies and all the yumminess, of what's there for them. It just might not be their thing, and that's okay. But then don't complain about, I just wanted to be this and that, and I just can't seem to get there." Well, you've gotta be responsible for your
yes.
transformation, and it is available for everyone in
Yes.
whatever you want to do. And sometimes it's just a matter of, you don't even know what you wanna do. You just gotta still say yes and still be the leader wherever you are, in whatever lane you're in. I don't
Mm,
care what you're doing, even if you're picking up trash around the dental office, be a
yes.
leader in that and do your best.
Say that piece, like at the question that you asked the group about the guest piece. Say that whole thing that you say, because I thought that was so impactful.
Well, I was just are you a guest or are you a host? So a guest will
Yes.
show up at a meeting at the office, just waiting to be served. Give me the platter, I'll take this and I'll take that, and they might say thank you and they may not. A host is preparing. They know they
Yes.
have something special to share and they want to share it. And so they prepare and they make this grow. And, it's just like having a party. You have people that'll come in and they sit in the corner. They don't even help you with the dishes at the end of the party. I mean, like, this is, they're
Yes.
missing out on some of the best parts of everything, being diving into it. So I think we should look at everything that we do is that we are hosting I don't know, it's what we're called to do, Carrie, you know,
Yes.
get a little closer to love, get a little closer to, you know, your universe, your chi, what you're meant to do, and
Yes.
you're not gonna get there by sitting back,
It's not going to magically come to you.
no, it's not.
The people
It's not.
that things magically come to, I think, make up 0.005% of the
Yeah.
world.
No one knows how hard we work and not everybody wants to work that hard, but so work but hard with whatever you wanna do. I mean,
That's
I
right.
guess, it's like it's okay because I have these gifts that I'm doing what I'm doing here. You have your
Mhm.
gifts, um, but everybody's got something they can do
Yes.
well,
Well,
for a great
Anne, we do a lot of work, with doctors and dental practices on creating their vision for their businesses and for their practices. And something that I think people don't realize is you can take that type of exercise or practice and you can do it for yourself, a
yeah,
personal vision for what you want. And even if you don't want to go take over the world, that's fine. You don't have to be the next Anne Duffy,
yeah,
but when you get clarity of what you want and what right looks like for your life, that helps you make better decisions.
mhm,
It can change the trajectory, the direction in which you're going. It helps you sit and look at where you are right now and determine, is this who I want to be, what I want to do, what I want to have? And if you're not, then you can make a change or make a connection or call a
get
person
get
or
some help, yeah,
sit across a table with somebody that could give you insight on how to do something differently, or to your point, Anne, shift from being a guest to being a host
mhm,
in various aspects of your life. Um, and there are a lot of levels where people can um, make an impact, and it's simply a matter of making a choice to own your journey, really. And
mhm,
some of the greatest relationships and some of the most meaningful connections that I've made professionally have occurred when I reached out and we made connection across the table,
yeah,
broke bread
mm,
together, met
mm,
at had a coffee at a meeting, went beyond the surface niceties of
mhm,
acquaintance and made real connection. That's what is really rooted in in dental entrepreneur woman, isn't it? I mean, is
yeah, I
let's
think so. You gotta show up with well, somebody I had heard this, I didn't make this up, but there is no smell-o-vision, okay? You
uh,
gotta get in communion with people. The one thing that just struck me when you were talking too, Carrie, is I admire what you're doing with these docs because I remember at 42 when I started my first side gig that I didn't even know anything about vision.
yeah.
Never occurred to me to think about what do I want? What
Mm,
did I want? And then when I started to do some vision work with the company that I was in, I wrote my vision. It was, you know, hard to do kind of, but I did it. And then guess what? It happened. Write
yes.
another one. It happened.
Mhm.
And if you stay focused on that, um, you're gonna look back, and that's the other reason, this legacy would be I look back on my career, and everyone that I touch and you touch looks back on their career and say,
Yeah.
"Dang, that was a great career. That was a great career. I did a good job." If you've touched a couple of people with their smile and their health, that stays with us forever. I mean, honestly,
Forever.
it's a beautiful thing, but the other thing I was thinking about dentistry with women, in particular with the team members, we are focused on a career and there's nowhere to go
Mm,
in dentistry. I mean, which is, so you don't think beyond what can I do greater? And if you don't have a doc like Dr. Jameson pouring
mhm,
into you, you have to your point, take it upon yourself and
mhm,
be the leader that you can be. And you have to find ways to transform yourself because nobody's going to really do it for you.
mm.
You can hand it to them on a platter, but
Right.
not everybody's gonna take it.
You
Um,
know how what we Okies say, "You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink."
and that's in a nutshell, that's it. That is it. It's I love that. That's the truth, and, but then sometimes they don't think they're capable.
Mm,
Well, guess what? Our job is to show them that they are capable or show them a different maybe path or again,
mhm.
everybody's got so many beautiful talents. Everybody's special.
Yes.
What are they? Let's bring them out. Let's not bury them. Let's not like, be at the
Yes.
end of our life and be like, "God, I should have I should have I should have smiled more or something." I don't know.
Yeah.
That's free. And that was the other thing I learned one time, that it's free to smile, it's free to say thank you, and it's free to say I'm sorry. All of those things that people think are out of reach that build
Yes.
bridges with people. Um,
Yes.
they're there for all of us.
Forgive me, I don't remember the name of the woman, Allison something, and she wrote a book that just got released called Talk,
Oh, yeah.
and she
I
worked
heard
have
her
you seen it?
podcast with Mel.
Okay, so yes, and so she's with Harvard
Yep, business
University,
school.
and
Mhm.
the study that and then this was in the Mel Robbins,
Okay.
in podcast. Look at us, Anne,
I know, we're twins. I
kindred
love it.
spirits. But she talked about how people that can communicate, the most successful people are people that are good at communicating.
Mhm.
And just really encouraging people. Obviously, I mean, she wrote a book about talking,
Yeah,
so
right.
but encouraging people to work on that skill,
Mhm.
because those that can effectively communicate and really engage and show up and lean in and do all the things are the ones where opportunity, you know, they win. They get those open doors. They get those opportunities because they're becoming this indispensable entity
Yeah,
because of their ability to communicate. To your point, it's free.
yeah.
It's free to say hello. It's free to be kind. It's free to provide great service. It's free to do those things. And so
And I think she
that.
also said it's okay to, like, kind of brag on yourself a little bit, like, "I did that, and look at this going on." I think, we just sit back and think people are gonna notice it,
Mm,
but we have to communicate, like, "This is what I'm doing,"
mm,
just I I I want to give everybody that confidence that it's okay to, like, I guess, toot your own horn, if you will.
mhm.
That's what we say in Ohio, toot your own horn, but that's okay. Again, everything she said was simple to implement.
Yes.
It's not hard. People think it's hard, but it's
People think
not
it's
that hard.
hard. You know what
Yeah.
it is? It's not hard. It's different.
Mhm.
It's different than how you've been doing it. Showing up to the do retreat is
Yeah,
something you've never done before. So it's scary.
yeah.
Reaching out to that person that you want to know or that you want to learn from, or raising your hand and saying, "Man, I need to be able to do this better. How can I get some help?" All of those things are scary,
Yeah.
because it's new or it feels vulnerable, or you're putting yourself out there. To your point, Anne, you're putting
Mhm.
yourself out there in a way you've never done before. But it's not necessarily that it's hard in the doing, it's just in taking that first step.
Taking the first step, and then not taking rejection. I mean, like, I think if
Yeah.
somebody's looking for a mentor, we were talking about this at the meeting. Maybe reach out to 10 people. You gotta fill a pipeline, okay? And mentors can come from everywhere, and people are busy. And so, you find a couple of people that you want to have a call with, maybe every quarter or check in and all that. You're gonna find somebody there because there's a lot of us out there
Yeah.
that, would love to just, help. Or guess what? You can listen to our podcast, right, Karen? You can
That's
you
right,
can read our
sister.
books. You can read our magazine because,
Yeah.
in Dental Entrepreneur Woman, all we do in that magazine mostly is tell the stories of where you were, where you are, why you're doing it, and where you're
Mm,
going.
mhm.
And, it's all there for you. If you're listening, you have everything you need to be successful, and lean into your strengths. And again, I like the bell curve, because find out what
Mm,
you're good at and then pour into that, and you'll be on rocket fuel. And my example is when I did the strengths test, I don't know if I shared this, but individualization is number 34. It's my weakest link, which finally explains to me why the kids have told me, the boys especially. Mike was in LA for years, or 10 years. He's like, "Mom, I don't need anything else from Banana Republic." I'm like, "Oh, okay, honey." And so now I know I'm just not the best gift buyer, and I just get a pass. I'm like, "Guys,
yeah.
here's your gift. Don't blame me. I'm not that good at picking out gifts." But it's nice to know where I shine and what I
Yeah.
need to, like, really focus on, because if I agonize over agonize over buying gifts. It takes me
Mm.
forever. And some people are just that's their love language. They love doing it.
What you're referencing is Gallup's Strength
Yeah.
Finders.
Gallup's Strength Finders.
So if
Um,
anyone wants to go figure out what your strengths are, you can go to Gallup online, GALLUP, I
Yep.
think,
Yep.
and take their,
3.0.
take their strength finders test, and it is very I've taken it before. I need to I meant to go look for it, Anne, before we got on to see
Oh,
what my results were.
well, you're gonna have to
Uh,
find those and let's have another call. I love going
yes,
over Strengths 101. I'm gonna be doing
yes,
that. Well, you were at the meeting. I'm gonna be doing that on May 14th at 7 o'clock. And I think if anybody else wants to jump in on that, if they're listening to this and they take the
yes.
assessment, we're gonna do a little Strengths 101. Just go
Through where?
through all of them. Yeah.
How can they find that, Anne, and how can they find more information on Dental Entrepreneur Woman?
Well, just go to dew.life. And that is our website, Dental Entrepreneur Woman, dew.life. And I think we'll have we'll have a little shout out for that. It's going to be just a little free webinar that I don't get too excited about. And I'm not a Gallup coach or anything, but I can, I can get you started. But that's how you can find Dew. And then everybody's welcome. So, just, and come through. We're going to do a buddy system this year. Again, we know last year we had new people and we try to do better every year, but we're going to have 250 amazing women, just like you, Carrie, and just like who's ever listening, because everybody, golly, when I think about where I started, I was a late bloomer, guys. Remember, I just did my first keynote. So you don't know how long your career is going to be. And you can do it. You can do it. And we believe in you. And you need people like Carrie and Jameson people, her whole team to pour into you. You need us. We're all here for you.
Absolutely. Oh, Anne, you are a gem. And yes, go to do.life. And if you are interested in what connecting to this organization looks like and entails, great events, great webinars, great opportunities for connection. So I encourage you to do so. And Anne, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining me today.
Carrie, I appreciate you so much. You were with me in the very beginning, and I think I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your help and encouragement and your expertise. So thank you so
Oh,
much for having me. I'll see you on the
yes.
road.
All right. Thanks to all of you for being with us. Be well, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.